Now, the last one here that he built was Masada. He actually built some places over in Jordan and down by Bethlehem too, the Herodian down by Bethlehem and other places. Herod was paranoid, and he thought people were trying to kill him. The problem is, were people trying to kill him? Very likely they were. And so Herod was scared, so what he did was he went down to a place called Masada. And I just want to tell you the story of Masada, lest the story be lost. In America, we have a thing called the Alamo. And the Alamo will never happen again, like the last of the Alamo. And Alamos, like when their back was to the wall, the Alamo went down. Herod built Masada. Masada is a mesa that goes up from the Dead Sea. It's down by the Dead Sea, really hot down there, and it goes up about 1,200 feet, straight up, 1,200 feet, and there's, 30, 40, 50 acres on the top of this mesa. Herod then, there's a snake path that goes up the front of it, and it's 1,200 feet up, and then there's this thing at the top. Herod carved out cisterns up on the top, and he had those cisterns full of water. So he filled, and I'm not talking just 100 gallons, 200 gallons. These are tens of thousands of gallons of water he had put up there. He also put up storerooms, and he's got huge buildings of storerooms where he stored grains of wheat and barley. And so there was food and there was water. Hey, you got food and water. Can you live a long time with food and water provided? So what happened is Herod built Masada with palaces on the north end. Well, Herod dies, and the Jews, Jesus comes, and the temple is destroyed in 70 A.D. by the Romans. And the Jews at the time of the Romans, they destroyed Jerusalem, and some Jews then ran down to Masada, and these Jews climbed up on the top of Masada. I think there were about 900 Jews, climbed to the top of Masada. And they said, "We will not submit to Rome." Thumbed their nose at Rome. And we will not submit. They were at the top of Masada. The Romans come down to the Dead Sea and they say, "We're going to attack." And all of a sudden they look up and it's like, holy cow, this thing's 1,200 feet high, man. What are we going to do? And the people up on the top got all the water they want to drink. The people at the bottom are next to the Dead Sea. What's the problem with the Dead Sea? Besides being 1,270 feet below sea level and being 33% salt, you drink that water, you're dead shortly. Okay? There's no water. You got to go back to Engedi and other places to get the water. They don't have water. And so then basically the Jews are up on top laughing at them, saying, "Romans, the sun's going to cook you, man." And Josephus, the Jewish historian, narrates this. This is about 73 A.D. About 73 A.D. The Romans destroyed the temple in 70 A.D. I'm going to want you to know that date. 70 A.D. the temple is destroyed. This is about 3 years after that. You don't thumb your nose at Rome. Even if you're 900 people and you got all the water and food you want up at the top, it's 1,200 feet straight up. You don't thumb your nose at Rome. Rome sends an architect down there. The architect says, "Okay, we're going to have to take that mountain, and we're going to have to take that mountain and push it up the side over here to make a ramp up to it so we can batter ram the walls down and we can get up there. We got to make this ramp." How are you going to make this ramp? It's 1,200 feet straight up. The Romans start bushel after bushel after bushel of dirt after dirt after dirt, and they make a ramp up the back side of the Mount of Masada. They make a ramp up the low side of Masada. It's still like 800, 900 feet. Straight up, they make it. They have to take down another mountain, they do it. They do it using Jews as slaves and other things like that, but then they do it. They put things up there so that they can hoist up a battering ram. And they hoist up a battering ram up and up and up. After, I think some rumor has it that it took them like 3 years to build this ramp. They're out in the desert building this thing for 3 years. Other people say they did it quicker. But anyways, they're pulling the battering ram up here. The Jews then have fire here, and the Jews fire down on the battering ram, try to set it on fire. But they've got iron on the front of it and stuff, and they bring it up, and they bring it up the wall. And they start banging on the wall, banging on the wall. And the Jews are up there realizing that the next day the Romans are going to break through. The next day the Romans are going to break through. They've got 900 people up there. They've been up there safe and things. The Romans couldn't get them, but the Romans are coming through. They're going to batter it down. Well, the next day comes. The Romans sat for the night. They come up the next day, and the battering ram goes, and they bash through the wall. But you know what? There was no noise up there that day. When the Romans walked in on the top of Masada, there was nobody to greet them there. There were 900 dead Jews. They had all killed themselves and committed suicide. 900 Jews dead on the top of Masada. And what do the Romans get out of that? 3 years of working in the hot desert. And what did they get? 900 dead Jews. in the middle of a desert. That was Masada, the story of Masada. The Jews say till this day, Masada will never happen again. And even today, sometimes for the Air Force, you can see the Air Force jet buzzing the top of Masada. Masada will never happen again. Masada was built by Herod the Great. Herod the Great was one of the great builders of all time. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. Now, one more thing about Herod. Caesar said of Herod, I'd rather be Herod's hus than his huios. I'd rather be Herod's hus than his huios. I'd rather be Herod's pig than his son. What did Herod do to his own sons? He was paranoid that somebody was going to try to kill him. Who would try to kill him? Usually it'd be in-house type things. So what Herod did was, Herod ordered that his sons be killed. I remember when my son and I were walking down from Jerusalem, we drove down to Wadi Kilt and on down to New Testament Jerusalem. New Testament Jerusalem is separate from Old Testament Jerusalem, I don't know, a mile or so. And New Testament Jerusalem was covered over with all barbed wire and stuff. So my son and I climbed through the barbed wire, get through the barbed wire, and I had my son stand in a pool, actually it was a pool, down at New Testament Jericho. And you know why I did that? Because Herod did what to his son in that pool? Herod sent his son down to the pool at Jericho and then told his guards to basically hold the kid underwater and drowned him in the pool. So basically, me being the nasty father that I am, I had my son get down in the pool. I snapped a picture. He didn't know what it was about, but I was kind of trying to re-dramatize that. There was no water for anywhere around there, but anyways, it was just something. Then we got back out through the barbed wire and took off and things. But Herod, I'd rather be Herod's pig. Herod protected the pigs out of respect to the Jews. He did not kill pigs and eat pigs and stuff like that. Out of respect to the Jews, he didn't kill pigs, but he killed his own sons because of his paranoia and things. This is Herod the Great. What is Herod the Great going to do in the New Testament? You guys have started on the book of Matthew. In the book of Matthew, chapter 2, wise men, infants, Egypt to Nazareth, what is Herod going to do? Herod is going to kill his own sons, and in Matthew chapter 2, he's going to kill the infants of Bethlehem who are under 2 years old and under. He's going to kill them. Was that a big thing for Herod? Herod killed his own wife, killed his own sons. To kill probably 12 kids in the town of Bethlehem, is a small town. To kill 12 babies under 2, is that a big deal? It's so insignificant in terms of the nastiness of Herod, it's not even mentioned in the external history books. But that's how the New Testament starts. The mighty King Herod killing infants, and Jesus, God's Son, spared the killing of Herod, and the King of the Jews is going to rule on the throne of David forever and ever. Well, we'll pick it up there next time. And thanks for the afternoon, and all the best. This is Dr. Ted Hildebrandt in his New Testament History, Literature, and Theology course taught at Gordon College in the spring of 2012. This is lecture number 2 on Alexander, Hellenism, and the Hasmoneans down to the time of Herod the Great.